Today I want to talk about price in the context of what we call compromise choices. You know, it's pretty much human nature. It's common sense. We kind of go for the middle ground. We're not going to buy the most expensive car. We're not going to buy the cheapest car. We're going to buy the middle of the road. It's just human nature, and it's based on a concept called compromise choices. We tend to compromise on our choice. And let's assume that I'm shooting for an average ticket of $15,000. That number could be 13, could be 17, but just for sake of argument, we'll just say it's 15. When my homeowner, when they see the price of $15,000, it has to be in the context of comparing it to $25,000, not $5,000, right? Here's what I mean by that. If, let's say the small price is $5,000, high price is $25,000, middle is $15,000, and I had a choice. And I could start at the bottom at $5,000, and I could try to push that boulder up the mountain, fighting gravity, fighting the weight of the boulder, using all my strength to push it up to $15,000, versus having a helicopter coming in and dropping the boulder off at $25,000 and using leverage and gravity in my favor to lower it down to $15,000. Obviously, that's going to be easier than pushing it up the hill. Well, it's the same exact concept in sales. We want to start at the top of the mountain and little by little let that boulder down the mountain as we have a conversation with our homeowners, so that when we get to $15,000, they're thinking, well, at least it wasn't $25,000. That's really, really important. I want to share with you a story. It's a real true life story that happened to me about 10 years ago. I got contacted by, and they were looking for a sales training program for their salespeople, for their diamond contractors across the country. They had 2,000 of them. And they called me up and they said, we're looking for somebody to develop a sales system. And they gave me their budget. It was $500,000. Now, I started thinking right away, they got 2,000 dealers. $500,000 isn't going to go very far across 2,000 dealers. So I put the proposal together, and I knew I needed to increase their budget. I had to change their perspective on budget. But what I did is I put a proposal together for $10 million and sent that to them. Now, I didn't have any expectation they were going to spend $10 million in this program, but I had to get it up off of that $500,000, right? Because I knew I couldn't do the job the way they wanted it done for $500,000. So I sent the proposal for $10 million, and they call me up, and they're like, dude, did you not listen to a word we said? We've got $500,000 budget. And I'm like, but listen, you got 2,000 dealers, $5,000 a year at least for each dealer. That's $10 million, $5,000 times 2,000 dealers. Again, I had no expectation they were going to buy this. This proposal was so over the top. I had a weekly television show we were going to produce for them, for their diamond contractors, tons of on-site visits and stuff. It was just really over the top. But as we have a conversation, eventually they say to me, well, you need to come down to Salmoney, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, and explain this $10 million proposal to them, right? So I go down there. I end up going down there 3 or 4 times. There's several committees you got to talk to. I eventually closed the deal for $2 million, right? So 4 times their original budget. We go to dinner that night, and I'm talking to the guy that was the main guy driving this whole program. And at one point in dinner, he leans over to me. He says, you know what we were thinking when we got you down to $2 million? In their mind, they got me down from $10 million to $2 million. It never occurred to them I got them from $500,000 to $2 million. In his mind, they got me down. And so I turned, his name was, I said, John, what were you thinking when you got me down to $2 million? He said, we were all thinking, at least it wasn't $10 million, right? So my point is this. When you show a homeowner a $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 number, they got to be saying to themselves, at least it wasn't $25,000. We can't let them compare that to $5,000. Now, they know the $5,000's out there, the $10,000 or whatever that number is, but we got to put it in perspective.